Okay, good day to you, my dear students. Once again, I'm Sean Xavier Alquilita, and I'm going to tackle about the next topic for Philo 2, the lesson 2 for chapter 3, which is the truth value of the oppositional inference. Okay, so let's take a closer look, and we're also going to apply how to apply this um, the truth value into the current situation that we deal with today. So let's take a closer look. Okay, so the laws of the opposition. So if we know that a given proposition is true or false, then we can determine whether any of its opposites is true or false. This is possible because there are certain laws concerning the opposites following the laws of opposition, so must be applied in judging whether oppositional inferences are correct or incorrect. So in the next slide, I will show you how this fake doctor, Dr. Wrong, has committed a serious mistake, has committed a serious wrong, serious mistake of his judgments concerning about COVID-19. So, let's proceed to the next one. Okay, so when can we say that our wrong judgments can be corrected by the right ones? So, okay, let's try to watch this short video.
Iba nga, sabi sa akin sa pasyente ko, Dok, yung anak ko, nasaksak, dinala sa ospital, namatay, COVID. Minsan daw kahit ba nila, nabaril, namatay sa ospital, COVID.
Saan ang ebidensya na nangyari ito?
Okay, so I would like to comment, Doc, where is the evidence? You said that pasyente. So, asa man ka, kinsa na nga pasyente or nakipag-chismisan ka lang sa pasyente mo. Please show us the direct evidence kinsa na nga pasyente nagsulti. Okay. Here's Doc Adams' reaction.
Ron, where's the evidence?
That's why. Where's the evidence?
Yeah, Ron, saan mo napulot ang kwento na yan?
Like, I'm not in the Philippines, but this seems like a conspiracy theory to me.
Lumalabas na yon na magiging respiratory illness na.
Respiratory illness na, then
Diba? So ngayon, pag may respiratory illness ka na, pwede na nilang i-report yun na COVID ka.
okay. This is so, guys, be careful with this statement. This is very dangerous. Why? It's because wrong judgments and even wrong statements can be fatal. Nakamamatay na. You should know, guys, that 2.69 million people died of COVID-19 already, and here are those some stupid people who speaking and spreading fake news worldwide about the COVID-19, and this should be corrected immediately using logic. So, pwede i-report na COVID ka positive, but where's the evidence? No?
Nagigets niyo mga friends?
Nakikigets ba ninyo? I am not getting it at all. just conspiracy theories.
Doc, alam mo ba, mapatag ang mundo natin?
Alam mo ba that the earth is flat? Okay, joke lang.
Lang.
Vaccine, na wala namang proof, nagagaling ka, na wala namang proof na hindi ka nakakapitan ng COVID.
Oh, oops, excuse me, fake news. What's the use of the clinical trials? Okay, all vaccines undergoes the clinical trials in order to prove its efficacy. You're wrong, Dr. Ron or Dr. Quack Quack or Dr. Quack Quack. You're wrong.
Ipapa-shoulder sa mga employee o sa mga employer na gaya namin, small business owners, medium-sized and large business owners.
Ron, you're wrong.
Oops. That's why you're wrong.
Gusto ko muna sabihin dito na piling ko yata hindi niya naintindihan ang vaccines. Ang vaccines kasi ay para maiwasan ang pagkaroon ng COVID. If you already have COVID, tapos magpupukuna ka. Siyempre, hindi makakatulong ang vaccines dyan. Vaccines, pang iwas, hindi naman gamot yan.
Yeah. So, just to remind you guys that the vaccines are not the medicines. Vaccines are just only to boost our immunity, not as a medicine against COVID. It's just only for our protection. Okay.
Ron, don't be wrong.
Pangalawa, ang daming ebidensya pagdating sa vaccines na ito.
Yeah, that's why. That's the reason behind the clinical trials. So, just give you the example of what is being shown with the facts about Sinovac's COVID-19 vaccine efficacy.
Sinovac, 100% at preventing severe and moderate infections. Both the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines are effective at stopping people from becoming very sick if they catch COVID-19.
Yeah.
The vaccines have been thoroughly tested and found to be effective.
Yeah.
Malinaw dito na hindi naintindihan ni Ron ang pag-aaral pagdating sa vaccines. This is really frustrating because vaccines save so many lives.
Okay, the vaccine saved many lives.
And Ron, you call yourself a doctor?
Ano ba yan, Ron? Don't be wrong.
Anong ginagawa mo, kaibigan? Anyway, vaccines go through a very thorough process. Bago nila yan ilabas sa public. There are so many phases that a vaccine goes through in its production process.
Okay, so that's the reason behind the truth behind the efficacy of the vaccines, to test the efficacy of the vaccines. That is why it undergoes the 3 phases, no? Clinical trials, no? Okay.
Para malaman kung ligtas at epektibo.
Sinasabi nga ng isang doktor doon sa UP daw yon, yung doktor na yon sa UP PGH na at least daw pag na-injection na siya ng vaccine, hindi na daw siya mamamatay sa COVID.
Okay. That's true. Di yan namamatay kasi it's because that these vaccines will save the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccines is 100% effective against the severe symptoms of COVID-19. That's why you will be protected. Wow! Ano ka pa, Doc?
COVID. Paano nasabi? Paano nasabi na hindi ka mamamatay sa
Evidence! Clinical trial! Unsa man ka?
COVID? Paano nasabi na mayroong COVID pa?
Paano mo masasabi? Well, evidence. Ron, it's called evidence. Halimbawa, the AstraZeneca vaccine protected 100% against severe COVID.
Yeah, that's why. It's 100%. You'll be protected 100% against severe infections or severe symptoms.
Sinovac, 100% at preventing severe and moderate infections. Ron, maraming pag-aaral dito. Bago mo ilabas ang mali sa internet, mas maganda yata mag-research muna. Imbes na gumamit ka lang ng gadget mo o figures na hindi ko alam saan mo yan napulot.
Sa mga nagmamagaling ng mga medical doctors dyan, dito sa Pilipinas, kasi pinag-claim nyo, hindi ka lang MD, DPT ka lang, Doctor of Physical Therapy ka lang, hindi ka man MD. I-prove ninyo na magaling kayo sa coronavirus. I-prove ninyo. Asan ang proof ninyo? Kasi kung hindi nyo ma-prove, magaling talaga ako sa coronavirus at wala kayong cure for coronavirus.
Oops. Actually, coronavirus has no cure for that. No? But the vaccines are just there. Para sa ako ha, walay cure sa COVID-19. Ang medicine nga ihatag nimo is just only vitamin C or zinc, palakas lang sa imong lawas, imong ana, no? But The vaccines are there to protect you from the severe symptoms of COVID-19. Astilan. Oh, okay. Nagpakabugo jud ka.
Tapos, yung MD ninyo, hindi medical doctor. Magaling dumaldal.
Oh, Ron.
Oh,
Ron.
that's abusive ad hominem fallacy. That's a fallacy, guys.
Ron. Hindi naman kami nagmamagaling. Pinapakita lang namin ang pagkamali.
Yes, that's true. We're just showing how false are your assumptions are, Dr. Wrong.
No. And why nobody should listen to your COVID advice.
Kasi mali yan, Ron.
So Ron, bago ka magalit dito, mag-isip ka muna.
Yeah, Ron, don't be wrong.
And Ron, o kayo lahat, kung gusto ninyo panood ang video ko tungkol sa vaccines, click the link dyan.
Okay, so that's it. So that is how that our judgments, that our wrong judgments can be corrected by the right one. And one of those things that we have to consider is the evidence. So in the previous part is sometimes we use the evidence, we use the analysis, and also we use the authority. That is why naay mga doctors who are specialized in COVID-19 infections. For example, the infectious disease experts. These are the people, or these are the doctors who are very experts in their own field. No? So whom can we trust? Unsa man nga doctor nga tong gi-trust with regards to COVID-19? The doctors who are very experts in their own field, particularly the infectious disease experts. Okay, so let's proceed now let's focus now to our topic now. Okay, so the law of contradiction. So in the basic laws of thought, the second basic law of thought is the law of contradiction, or the principle of non-contradiction. So a thing cannot be and not be at the same time. So in other words, that contradictories cannot be true at the same time. And the same way, it cannot be false at the same time. So if the given is true, the other is false. If the given is false, the other is true. So in the law of contradiction, if A is true, O is false. No? And if A is false, O is true. So vice versa. The same thing as also with E and I propositions. Just an example here. No cheater is honest. That is true. So, by contradiction, some cheaters are honest. That is already false. Okay? The next. That's why contradictories cannot be false at the same time. So if the given is false, the other is also considered as true. For example, some monkeys are able to think. That is false. So, by contradiction, no monkey is able to think. That is already true. Okay, next. The law of contraries. Contraries cannot be both true at the same time. If the given is true, the other is false. So, for example, no hero is a coward. That is true. But on the contrary, all heroes are cowards, therefore is false. Next. Contraries can be false at the same time. So, if the given is false, the other is doubtful or uncertain or indeterminate. We are not sure. So, it can be false or it can be true. We're not sure. I'm not sure. I'm doubtful. I'm uncertain. Indeterminate. I don't know. No? I don't know. So, for example, no child is egocentric. That is false. So, on the contrary, so if it is false that no child is egocentric, then all children are egocentric is I don't know. I don't know, doubtful or uncertain. No? So that is the law of the contrary. So if one is false, the other is should be doubtful. Why it's doubtful is because certain situations could either be true or certain situations could either be false. Okay, the next one. Okay, the law of subcontraries. Subcontraries cannot be false at the same time. So if the given is false, the other is true. Just an example here. So if I is false, O is true, and vice versa. No, if O is false, I is true. Okay, just an example here. Some obstacles are insurmountable. That is false. If it is false that some obstacles are insurmountable, then it is true that not all obstacles are insurmountable. Okay? On the other hand, subcontraries can be true at the same time. So if the given is true, the other is I don't know. The other is doubtful, indeterminate, uncertain, no? Nakakaduda. Okay? So, for example, some movies are purely for entertainment. So that is false. So if it is false that some movies are purely for entertainment, then I don't know. Then therefore it is uncertain. It is indeterminate. It is doubtful that not all movies are purely for entertainment. Okay? The next. The next one. The law of subalterns. So it applies to A and I and E and O and vice versa. I and A and O and E. So let's go first with letter A. So if the universal proposition is true, subaltern is true. So in other words, what is true for all is true in particular. What is true for all is true for one. So if A is true, I is true. If E is true, O is also true. For example, all lifeguards are expert swimmers. That is true. So therefore, we can immediately proceed that some lifeguards are expert swimmers is also true. Another example here. No cheater is honest. That is true. Therefore, we can immediately proceed that not all cheaters are honest is also true. That is the law of the subalterns. Okay, the next, letter B. If the particular proposition is false, the subaltern is I don't know, doubtful, uncertain, indeterminate. So what is true for one may not be necessarily true for all. Kung ang imuhang uyab, if your boyfriend is a womanizer, then you cannot say that all men are womanizers. Just an example here. Given that millions of men in the world are womanizers, that is true, then you cannot say that all men in the world are womanizers. Therefore, it is doubtful. Okay? So that's the law of subalterns. The next one, let's continue with the law of subalterns, letter C. If the particular proposition is false, excuse me, if the particular proposition is false, then the subaltern is false. So therefore, here, what is false for one, what is falsity for one, is false for all. That is the that is how it implies. What is false for one person is false for everyone. Oh, so if I is false, A is false. If O is false, E is also false. For example, some members of the NPA are not terrorists. That is false. So therefore, no member of the NPA is a terrorist. That is definitely false. That is how we imply our thinking there in the subalterns. That's logic. The next one, if the universal proposition is false, then the subaltern is doubtful, uncertain, indeterminate, or I don't know. Because there are some situations that it could be true or false. Okay? So if A is false, what is falsity for all may not be falsity for one. What is, so I repeat again, what is falsity for all, what is false for all may not be necessarily false for one. So if A is false, I is doubtful. If E is false, O is also doubtful. For example, so no TV show is good for children. So that is false. So we can also infer that if it is false that no TV show is good for the children, then it is indeterminate, it is doubtful, it is uncertain that not all TV shows are good for the children. Because it might be either yes or no depending on the situation, depending on what TV shows that are good for the children. Okay? That is how we apply our thinking with regards to universal to particular propositions or particular statements, or from particular statements to the universal statements. Okay? Okay, so let's move to the next one. Okay, so here's the cheat list, or the summary of the entire lesson for today, the laws of the opposition, the truth value of the oppositional inference. So please don't forget this one. On the what is above the table, given if A is true or false, E is true or false, I true or false, O true or false. So given if A is true, contradictories is false. Then the no, not the subcontrary, but contraries, because contraries applies to A and E, E and A, right? So if A is true, the contrary is false. So if A is true, the subaltern is definitely true. So what is true for all is true for one. On the other hand, if A is false, the contradictory is true. If A is false, the contrary is doubtful. If A is false, the subaltern is definitely doubtful. The same thing as also with E proposition, no? applies to a proposition. Now, given I, if I is true, the contradictory is false. No? If I is true, the subcontrary is doubtful. Okay. If I is true, the subaltern is also doubtful. Now, here, if I is false, the contradictory, which is a proposition, is true. If I is false, the subcontrary is true. No? If I is false, the subaltern follows false. Subaltern, which is a proposition. The same thing as also we apply to all proposition. So that is how I prepare the table or the truth table of the oppositional inference. Okay, so that's all for our topic today, and thank you very much for your viewing. So once again, I'm Shan Xavier Alcalita, now signing off.